Good day everyone. Today, we are diving into a crucial topic for every Malaysian employer, which is to understand the LHDNM's requirement for stamping employment contracts. This presentation will outline the key requirements set by Lembaga Hasil Dalam Negeri Malaysia, in short LHDNM, which emphasize on why adherence is vital in both legal and operational contexts. According to Malaysia's Stamp Act of 1949, employment contracts are classified as documents subject to stamp duty if they fall within the categories outlined in Schedule 1 of the Act. Each employment contracts are subjected to 10 ringgit Malaysia stamp duty fee. This includes the full-time, part-time, fixed-term, or contract-based employment agreements. Now, as an employer, you may have a question on why is the small fee 10 ringgit important? Why must we stamp the employment contract for our employee in the first place? First of all, we would like to outline and highlight the importance of employment contract stamping. Firstly is the legal validation. Stamping provides legal recognition and enforceability of the employment contract in Malaysia's legal framework. It is essential for upholding the terms agreed upon by employers and employees. Next is tax compliance. Complying with LHDNM stamping requirements helps avoid penalties and ensure that the contract aligns with Malaysian tax laws, which is essential for both employers and employees involved. Last but not least is the protection of rights. Well-stamped contracts protect the rights and obligation for both employers and employees. They provide a clear record of the agreement and ensure fair treatment under the law. Moving on to key requirements for stamping. Timely stamping required. All employment contracts must be stamped within 30 days of execution to ensure compliance with LHDNM regulations. That is, 30 days from when both parties sign the document. Next is mandatory contract details. Essential details such as both employers and employees' names, job title or designation, and specific terms of employment must be clearly stated in the contract to meet LHDNM standards. It is important to mention here that there are consequences for non-compliance should there be any employers who refuse to stamp the employment contract for their employees, because failure to do so can result in significant legal penalties such as fines and inability to enforce their contract terms when it comes to court case. Meaning to say, the employers may face challenges in resolving the legal disputes. Now, imagine you have an employee named Abu who has breached the confidentiality of the company by revealing some top secret information to your competitors. And you as the employer, you wanted to sue Abu for this breach of trust. However, when it comes to presenting your case, the court may find your evidence to be weak or not as strong as it should be just because that they find out you did not comply to LHDN requirement, which is to stamp the employee's employment contract. Meaning to say, you cannot win the case just because of this small mistake. On the flip side, adhering to LHDN requirements for stamping employment contract not only offers legal protection but also promotes smoother operational processes. It also helps in safeguarding the rights of both employers and employees, ensuring that contractual agreements are recognized legally and respected. When it comes to employers' responsibilities, here's what employers need to do. First is to ensure that contracts must be accepted, which is signed by the employees first before they are eligible for stamping. Employer must stamp and pay the duty right away. Only one stamped copy is required to be kept by the employer. And if the employees wish to have a copy for themselves, it is optional and it is at their own expense. For your information, there are stamp duty exemptions for documents like promotion, confirmation, resignation, increment, and bonus letter. Next, contracts enforced prior to January 1st, 2025 does not require to be stamped. Meaning to say, all contracts that started before 2025 are fully exempted, thanks to our government. Next is the company may apply for relief if the company is under restructuring or acquiring assets process. LHDN has announced a penalty waiver for all employment contracts starting from January 1st, 2025, meaning this is also a grace period given by our government, which is valid until 31st of December this year. Hence, employers must submit an appeal for the waiver before making payment. And once the employers have applied stamping via exemptions, the penalty will be calculated automatically. To waive this penalty, simply click Kemuka Rayuan Submit Appeal button on the portal. Then, attach the appeal letter and wait for LHDN approval. Employers are getting waivers approved under Section 47A of the Stamp Act 1949. Here comes process of stamping employment contracts. Be sure to follow these steps for proper stamping of employment contract under LHDNM. Step 1. Prepare contract. Employer must draft the employment contract and ensure that all required details are included, such as both employers and employees' name, job title, and employment terms. The documents must be signed by both parties for further action. Step 2. Submission via Stamps Hasil. Employers must make sure to adjudicate and fill in the required details correctly in the system. Then, submit the prepared contract to the LHDNM office for their review and stamping. Once approved, you will get a notice of assessment, also known as notice taksiran. Step 3. Pay stamp duty. Pay the necessary stamp duty based on the contract value as determined by LHDNM regulations, which is 10 ringgit fixed stamp duty fee for each employment contract. Step 4. Obtain stamped contract. Print out the certificate or sijil ketulinan and download it into company's database for record keeping. Bind the certificate together with the employment contract. This is the last step to ensure that the document has been legally validated by LHDN. Now, mark your calendars. The mandatory enforcement of stamp duty for employment contracts, along with applicable penalties for non-compliance, will officially begin on January 1st, 2026. The late stamping penalty will cost 50 ringgit or 10% for more than 30 days to 3 months late stamping, or 100 ringgit or 20% for over 3 months late stamping. We hope the message is clear. We encourage the employers to act now and to utilize this valuable grace period given by our government until December 31st, 2025 to waive penalties for your 2025 contracts and get everything in order. All employers must ensure that they are practicing in full compliance with this vital requirement, bracing themselves for the mandatory enforcement beginning January 1st, 2026. Curious for more? The conversation doesn't end here. Don't hesitate to reach out to us via our social media channels or our website. We are here to help you navigate these requirements. Thank you for your time. Have a nice day.